beer for breakfast, snacks for snacks. Welcome to Sunday Scaries with Bucks McGee. Okay, AFC North. Lamar Jackson finally happy? I don't think so. You could give him as much money in the world. No, screw it. I'm happy if I had $10 in my account, but I don't. So that's why I'm not happy. Think about that. Bengals, can they withstand the Burrow injury? No. They're kind of shit out of luck. Not doing good. I bet you they'll just make the playoffs and not get anywhere there. All right, next one. Can Deshaun Watson bring Browns over their hump? Once again, no. What about Divisional Preview? Okay, let's go with Steelers. They'll win 2 games. They suck. They suck. All right, Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Pittsburgh. That's how I am. Browns 500. Hey, back to you, Nutmeg and McGee.
Welcome back in to Sunday Scaries, these divisional previews before the season officially kicks off. Bucks McGee joining me here on site in not the Midland studio, but the Midlands Oasis.
Yes. I have traveled from the warm, fiery south of Florida here in beautiful South Carolina.
That's right. And the fiery south.
Florida, man. It's fiery. It's fiery, man. Heat advisories and everything. It's fiery out there.
The only thing fiery about here is the flies' rage.
Yes, I have noticed that. They're everywhere.
We're going to talk to AFC North. We can't do that without a beer, and aptly so with our food in front of us. Fine pairing indeed. Po' Boy Amberfest. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Po' Boy Fest is an amber lager by Urban South. Shout out to @NolaHops on Instagram for proxying my giveaway win. And, of course, we're pairing it with a couple Po' Boys from Hootie's Bait and Tackle Shop. In, I guess they're in Lexington. I actually looked at what their address was, but they're only like a mile and a half away. So I guess they're probably in Lexington.
So we'll just call it Lexington.
Yeah. So let's pop the beer.
Oh yes.
Hard pours on this channel, baby.
That's it.
So AFC North. The big stories to me are Lamar finally got his contract, and this Joe Burrow injury. Because to me, a few weeks ago, this division looked a lot different than it does as we're sitting here today.
I don't know if it looked as different now with the injury, yes, but I think prior to the injury, a lot of people have said, have looked at the Ravens with the new weapons, OBJ, and Lamar with the contract. They were right in the thick of things. So the injury to Burrow does open the doors. It's just, what is the true severity? It's a calf injury. Is it going to be 3-4 weeks and he's back? Is it going to be something that lingers throughout the year? So that's where they're at right now.
It's funny because to me, that actually worked perfectly, didn't it? To me, a calf injury is something that it doesn't necessarily endanger time of the season, but it does linger throughout the whole thing. It doesn't go away. Like, you could play 16 games, but you're going to be feeling that every week, and you're probably not going to be yourself. So I'm a little surprised that he actually is going to miss time to start the season.
Well, in hearing other athletes talk about calf injuries, some guys have said that they missed multiple weeks because of the severity. So I think it depends on your pain tolerance and what truly is wrong with the calf. If it's just what the strain is. Is it a 1, a 2? Because every strain has its levels. So I think it just depends on what that is in the pain tolerance. And if it's a situation where can Joe miss a game? If he misses a game, will this team be able to handle it? Are they going to be able to grind through? They will probably depend a little more on the run game. They did resign Mixon to a very friendly deal. He took a pay cut, wanting to come back. So I think that helps out a bit. So it's just going to be whatever the length is of him being out, of Burrow being out, and then what's the plan? But with the Ravens, they've got talent.
In the event of them getting off to a slow start, do you think that there's any kind of room to capitalize for Baltimore? Because for me, a slow start for Burrow for Cincinnati means the window is open. We'll get into the Steelers and the Browns in a little bit, but to me, the two of them are the top teams in this division. And Burrow's going to miss time if they get off to a slow start. To me, that opens up a huge window for Baltimore to get off to a hot start.
No, it does. But you also have to look at Baltimore. You know, it's a new offense now. It's more of a pass-happy offense. J.K. Dobbins right now hasn't played at all in training camp. So the running game, again, in Baltimore is going to be a bit suspect because, let's be realistic, the last couple of years, the running back position's been really rough there. They've had injuries. It hasn't panned out. So, okay, that's great. Now you can throw the ball, but you got to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of what you think of the running back position in the NFL, you still got to be able to run the ball. So, are those guys going to click early, or is there going to be like a time where, you know, they're going to take them 3-4 weeks to get on the same page? You know, training camp is great and all, but once, you know, the bullets are live, are these guys going to be able to gel right off the bat? So,
and they did have a lot of issues last year keeping running backs because they're constantly changing out running backs, whether it was healthy or ineffective player, or whatever. Baltimore changed out running backs a lot last year.
Yeah, and it was all mostly injury. Just the guys couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah, so I know the initial report was several weeks for Burrow. What was the latest on roughly how many weeks of actual season time he's going to miss?
I think the early is maybe 3 to 4 weeks.
3 to 4 weeks. Okay.
I know there hasn't been a really hard, you know, timeline, but I'm thinking they're saying 3 to 4 weeks.
So let's look at the tangible schedule of that time. Week 1, they are at Cleveland. Week 2, they host the aforementioned Baltimore Ravens. So 2 divisional games right off the bat.
Yeah.
Week 3, they host the Rams, who, I mean, we're kind of down on.
Yeah, the Rams are not what they once were.
And week 4, they're going to Nashville to play Tennessee. All
right. So, if you really look at it, they could end up being they could go 3-1, 4-0. Like it's not out of the ordinary. Honestly, no one knows what you're gonna get out of Cleveland. You know, right now, quarterback position is kind of, you know, in the air. You know, they've got Deshaun. What's Deshaun gonna be? So, you know, since he could pull something out there, Baltimore, yeah, I think this is the first real test, really early. You know, if Baltimore week 1 doesn't have it, and, you know, since he's got that continuity going, since he can pull it out, I think Cincinnati can beat the Rams. The Rams are really, you know, Cooper Kupp's got a, you know, hamstring injury right now. You know, they are not what they used to be. You know, there's a lot of jumbled pieces there. You don't know if Stafford's going to be healthy, so I could see them winning there. And then Tennessee. Okay, you got D-Hop. That's great and all.
Who's throwing to him?
Yeah, exactly. Is Ryan Tannehill going to be able to throw? You know, and of course, you know, there's Derrick Henry. So they could go 3-1. They could go 4-0. I don't think if it's literally 4 weeks that Burrow is out, I think they're still in good shape.
Yeah. So they may withstand this, and even after that, even if it takes an extra week, their next game's Arizona.
Yeah, and at that point,
do.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we go over Baltimore, to the flip side, let's go over this beer.
Okay.
It is an amber lager. It does have a traditional malty type of aroma.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Clean, light. Kind of digging that. Oh, there's Baltimore. What do you think on the flavor? That's not as sweet as to me. It's not as sweet as I was expecting.
No, maybe slightly tart.
Tart.
Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
You know, I'm drinking IPAs and stuff all weekend.
That's
so,
true.
You know, so my palate's a little out there. But not too heavy.
It kind of tastes like a regular lager to me.
Yeah,
It doesn't come off like amber, malty, sweet, caramelly. None of those kind of like amber.
almost like
notes
a basic lager.
Yeah,
Definitely.
just darker.
True. But no, like I said,
That's solid. But you know what? I mean, a po' boy is pretty, thick and heavy, so I don't actually mind that. What do you think of this po' boy from Hootie's Bait and Tackle Shop?
let's see. Let's see what we got here.
Get it in there.
Not bad. Shrimp's cooked well. Not bad at all.
Not overcooked. You can still taste it. The breading's not overpowering it.
No, and that's the main thing there. Breading is smooth, kind of light. Bun's toasted very well.
No,
it's pretty good. I like it.
now that we've done that, give everyone one last look at it, and then we're going to close it up to protect it from the flies.
Yeah.
Let's talk Baltimore. So, regardless of what Cincinnati does, whether they get off to a hot start and they're right on pace where they should be even without Burrow, or they go to a slow start and opens the window for Baltimore, their first 3-4 games are at home against Houston to start. One would think that would be pretty easy. Then they have the game we already went through, the game against the early matchup against Cincinnati. They have the Colts at home. I know. And then on the road, against Cleveland. So they also have 2 divisional games right off the bat, although they get Cleveland a little later. And they also follow up that game on the road against Pittsburgh.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So what do you like? Can they get off to a hot start in the event that window is open for them to overtake Cincinnati?
Right there, you're looking at. You could say they could go 3-1. You could look at 3-1. I think Cincinnati's winning that week 2 game, personally.
Okay.
But no, I could see them make it. Everything's hitting right off the bat week 1. They could go 3-1. The Steelers are going to be interesting. We don't know what they've got, and of course we're going to talk about them later.
Yeah.
But they're always a tough out. But the first 4 games, they could be 3-1. I would give them that.
So now, so that's kind of the top of the division, the kind of cream of the crop, so to speak. The only other note I want to talk on Baltimore is the fact that now the contract's finally done.
Right.
And Lamar's locked up long term. He doesn't have hanging over his head. He doesn't have that to bitch moan about anymore.
Right.
This is it. The Lamar we see is now the Lamar that we're going to get because he's supposed to be happy.
Right.
But is he happy? Do you think he is happy? Like, do you think that the contract plus everything else they've done in the offseason is enough to get them over the hump?
I think so. Honestly, I don't think he can complain. He got the money he wanted. If he didn't want, we sat through the 30, 40 days of Lamar, the Lamar watch. We sat through that. I was driving home, SXM radio, NFL, listening to it. It was a Lamar watch. Lamar finally signs. If he didn't want the money, he wouldn't have signed. Now, Lamar doesn't have an agent, so of course, that was always the big talk. Lamar, you should have an agent, and he's going to get you more. But this is what Lamar worked out. Lamar signed it. So now Lamar can't complain.
Yeah.
Once you sign it, you're saying, I'm happy with this. So from that aspect, Lamar should be happy. They've given him pieces. The questions are, is OBJ going to be OBJ of old? Are you getting Giants OBJ? I don't think so. Are you getting Rams OBJ? Yeah, that was great too, because he, in theory, in that Super Bowl, he would have been MVP. If he doesn't get hurt, he's probably the MVP.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. They picked up some pieces on, some rookies, and they look good. The run game, like I said, is going to be the big question. The defense has always been solid. They always run a quality defense. So Lamar can't be upset. If Lamar wants to be the man now, get out of here, guys. If Lamar wants to be the man, then this is it. He's got pieces. He can't complain. And you still have Mark Andrews. I think a lot of people forget about Mark Andrews. He's been the constant there for years. You've got your pieces. You're going to be in a pro-style offense. You're going to throw the ball more. He said he's wanted to throw for over 5,000 yards. Like, he's got these grandiose plans. Well, now you have the chance to do it.
Yeah.
Now here you go. If you don't do it, you can't be blaming everybody else now.
Don't cry because Hollywood Brown's out of town.
No, there you go. Exactly. Now you have to be that quarterback that stands in front of the cameras and takes the hits.
The also rans in this division. Pittsburgh. They were able to stave off Tomlin's plus 500 record. That's a weird way to say that. His record for most consecutive 500 seasons or plus 500 seasons?
500 or better. Yeah.
500 or better, okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to stave off towards the end and preserve his record of longevity of above adequacy, we'll say.
Mediocrity, let's be honest. 500 is mediocre. You can't say it anything else. 500 is mediocre.
So,
participation trophy. There you go.
Yeah. Participation trophy.
That's what 500 is. Yep. Honestly, if you think otherwise, then...
So, in that way,
yes,
they were able to preserve his little record there.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously he's playing for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh doesn't fire people. But is he on any kind of remote type of hot seat with this team? Because in theory, if he was anywhere else in the league, he probably would have been fired 3 or 4 times by now.
I don't. Here's the thing. Depending on the franchise, he would have been fired. Let's. I don't know. Right. Pittsburgh is, one of the elite franchises, some of the flagship franchises of the league. Let's be honest here. I think the Rooney family understands what they have in him. They do things their way, contract-wise and everything like that. So I think the way they've gone about this is they understand. This is what we've given you, coach. This is what you got to work with. If this is what we've, for whatever reason, given you, if this is what they are, this is what they are. I think if they felt he wasn't strong enough of a coach and they weren't happy with the results, they would have fired him.
Mm-hmm.
So let's be honest. But yeah, I think fans in Pittsburgh, and I think the fan base has changed, it's generational. I think now they're like, okay, well, what are we going to do? Are we going to start signing free agents? Because, Pittsburgh really doesn't sign free agents. They're not a splashy team.
Yeah.
If a guy wants to go there, he's going to go there. So I think if they start out slow, I think you start to hear the whispers, start to hear the rumbles. If they definitely finish below 500, then yeah, the seat is on fire because Pittsburgh wants to be competitive. But I think they also have to kind of look at their culture in the front office and kind of say, we need to start bringing some guys in. We need to spend some cash. So hot seat not yet, but they start out 2-5. Yeah, there's gonna be some problems.
Last but not least, the Cleveland Browns.
Oh,
they finally got a quarterback last year, but of course he had to deal with that suspension. Didn't wind up playing until practically Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. It was 11 weeks.
They're going to get a full season to Deshaun Watson this year, barring injury, of course.
Mm-hmm.
They've always, they still have Chubb in the backfield. They have maintained some kind of a consistent defensive presence over the years. So Cleveland, especially being that we've got some. Is this finally enough talk at Baltimore? Pittsburgh's still on a down note. Cincinnati's got this Burrow injury. Is there enough questions floating around for everyone else for Cleveland to kind of fill any potential void that may happen in the event of the other teams' missteps?
Cleveland has talent. Let's be real. Cleveland has talent on both sides of the ball. It was just the quarterback was the issue. Now you've got the guy. You've got the guy who you fully guaranteed his contract. Mm-hmm. And when you did that, the league turned around and everyone looked at you and kind of said, really? A lot of owners were looking at Cleveland saying, why? Why did you do it? But, Cleveland has to, stand on this sword, They have talent. If it's Deshaun Watson of Houston, and that's what you paid for. I've heard some people say, well, he doesn't have to be Deshaun of Houston, but he's got to be solid. No. You fully guaranteed this contract. You need Deshaun of Houston lore. He needs to be that guy, that dynamic playmaker. If you're getting less than that, then you've gotten ripped off. And if you get that Deshaun, they could be a player. There's no doubt. Their defense is great. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, there's talent there. So it's not like they can't perform. It's what does Deshaun bring to the table this year? It's all on him. They can't go and say, well, the defense wasn't good. blah, blah. If their defense is middle of the road, ranked 15th, 16th, doesn't matter.
That should be enough.
That offense
with an allegedly elite quarterback.
That offense needs to be in the top 10 because you paid a franchise quarterback beyond franchise money.
Yeah.
So, no, I think Cleveland should be in the mix. No doubt. Anything less than 10 wins, I think, is kind of
lofty.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's lofty. That's what you're paying. That's what you paid for, though.
Right.
You know, you didn't pay for like a 9-8 season. Woo woo! Let's sniff the first round of the playoffs and get bounced for 3-4 years. You're not trying to follow Pittsburgh, you know, what they've done the last 3 or 4 years. You're shooting for a division. You're shooting to be an elite in the AFC of what you paid that quarterback. If you weren't looking that way, you shouldn't have paid that man.
Yeah.
So no, they need to look at themselves like the Ravens, like the Bengals, and say we need to be that.
Yeah. Before we put our money where our mouths are and pick this thing, let's throw it to special guest this season on Sunday Scaries, Donnie Dolla signs, trying to make you some money, and here are his picks for the AFC North.
We're going to make it rain this year. All right, thanks, Nutmeg. This is Donnie Dolla Signs here to make some fast money this NFL season. First, we're going to stay in the AFC North with our value pick of the Browns at plus 380 to win the division. I know everybody's picking the Bengals, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Chase, but Burrow is out for several weeks, and I think that's going to hurt them really bad. So next, we're going to go with the Ravens not to make the playoffs at plus 122. I feel that Lamar Jackson got paid, and then we know when everybody gets paid in the NFL or athletes in general, their play falls off. So even with Odell and Bateman, I just don't like Lamar's style of play, and I don't think that they're going to make it. So now for our player prop bet for the AFC North, we're going to go with Deshaun Watson, 23.5 touchdowns over. I think he's going to get that by like week 12, 13 with Cooper and Elijah Moore. So yeah, there we have it. We got the Browns to win the division at plus 380. The Ravens not to make the playoffs at 122, plus 122. And the Deshaun Watson prop bet of 23.5 touchdowns. The over we're going to take. And there we have it. And now we're going to throw it back to you, Chase. Nutmeg, thanks a lot. Take care. Let's win some money.
Coming back. Thanks a lot, Donnie. Make sure you catch all his other picks for the rest of the season and throughout the season, week to week.
Make that money. Make that money. Picks are golden.
Make it rain. All right, we got to pick this division.
All right.
I'm gonna side with only because I can't think off the top of my head who Cincinnati's backup is. And I know we just looked at their schedule and it's not exactly the most daunting, but I think that injury will linger a bit, and there could be a couple games where something's not right and they catch a bad break and they lose like a kind of a dumb luck type of game.
Okay.
I think there might be enough of that presence this season where it'll be close all the way, but I think Baltimore will probably eke out the division.
So you're giving Baltimore the division?
I'm in Baltimore the division.
Wow. Okay.
Whereas 3 weeks, you know what? 3 weeks ago, I would not have said that. That would have been all on Cincinnati. Boom, lay the money down hard. But I think that the injury, the potential to something slip up, and then that calf nagging him all year. I think there's enough of a gray area where if Baltimore's right, they could slip in and fill that void and get the division title.
All right, I can see it. But I'm gonna stick with Joe Cool himself. I think Baltimore isn't gonna shoot out the gate right off the bat with all these different pieces that they've added. It's gonna take some time. I need Lamar to prove to me that he's gonna throw the ball 30 times, 35 times, because that's what he's gonna become now. It's a pass-happy offense now. That's what they got those pieces for. It can't be Lamar throwing maybe for 20 times and running for $130 or something. Like, this is what you want Lamar to be. I don't think we've really seen it. Everyone's like, Lamar can throw the ball. No, there's no doubt, but it's going to be sitting there reading defenses. You want to sit in the pocket and throw? Okay. I think that it's going to take a little time for them to gel and get that. Now, OBJ's got to stay healthy.
Yes.
If he goes down, then everything gets turned upside down.
Right, because their weapons really didn't change much other than him.
Nope. We picked up, some rookies, that've got some speed and such, which is great. Still, like I said, still got Mark Andrews, but I feel that Cincinnati has the cohesiveness, and I think Joe is going to be smart about this. I think they'll be able to get through the first 4 games okay. I'm thinking he's going to be gone maybe 4 games, and I just feel that they have enough to eke it out. So I'm going Cincinnati.
There it is, 1 division down. We split. You heard the picks. Cheers to that. Going over the NFC North tomorrow. And stay tuned for the rest of them as we continue down to kickoff.
Woo woo!